advance pricing agreements. Now, before going into the details of advance pricing agreements, let me tell you, for example, say you are setting up a lemonade stand, right? Now, you are selling one lemonade for 10 rupees to people like me, people like your friends, to everyone, right? You are selling one lemonade for 10 rupees to everyone, correct? Now say, imagine a situation where your mother is selling lemonades, correct? Now, your mother is selling one lemonade for rupees 5 to not everyone, but to you, correct? Because she is selling to you for 5 rupees or a discount of around 5 rupees because she knows you, right? She is kind of maybe biased that she is charging less from you, but she is charging 10 rupees to everyone other than you, right? So this is something which is not fair, correct? Because everyone should also be buying at 5 rupees. Now this happens in the corporate world also. For example, let us take an example here. We all know about the Maruti Suzuki, right? We know about the Maruti Suzuki car dealer. Suppose that Maruti Suzuki, to manufacture a car, we need what? We need tires, we need glass, we need steel, right? And we know that Maruti is located in India and Suzuki is located at Japan. Now, for example, say Japan, Suzuki is supplying to Maruti in India some special tires that they can only engineer in Japan. And these tires, right, these tires are available for 100 rupees in the open market that everyone can purchase. But since Suzuki is selling it to its subsidiary Maruti, that means Suzuki is the parent company. It is selling to Maruti, for example, the child company in India, that same amount of tires, but it is selling for 50 rupees, correct? So this is not good. This is something known as transfer pricing. Transfer pricing is just this, that the parent companies are selling to their own subsidiary companies, right? So this is known as transfer pricing. And if you say, if I'm selling lemonade, I'm earning something. That means when I'm earning something, I need to pay a tax. So if my tax is rate say at 10%, so I need to pay 1 rupees of tax here. Now say my mother is also paying tax at 10%, but she is paying 0.5 rupees. That means when she sold the lemonade at low prices, she is paying low taxes. Now in this amount of transfer pricing, the governments actually lose huge amounts on this particular practice. So sometimes the government tells these companies that you enter into advance transfer pricing with me. That means there is a taxpayer, right? Taxpayer can be a company like Maruti Suzuki. The taxpayer is told by the government of India that you enter into advance agreements with me, that you are selling some components between you, your company, to others also, and those prices you need to tell me. Those prices you need to tell me beforehand, in advance, so that I can impose a transparent and a full and a justified tax on your prices. So this is actually ethical, right? This is actually what must happen. The governments must know the prices, then only it can impose taxes, right? And taxes the government needs to finance various public services, correct? So taxes are also important, and that is why the companies are actually told by the government to say whatever you are selling components in a particular, in the coming year, right? And even in the say coming 4 years, even 10 years, you have to give me an estimate, right? So that I can impose some taxes on you. This will be leading to tax certainty, right? And say the aim of the scheme is to provide clarity and predictability, right? Because companies can use various methods in avoiding taxes like this. So government must be having taxes, and according to various transfer pricing agreements, that the government and the taxpayer can have a certainty for around 9 years. So it is good for the government, right? Now there are various types of advanced pricing agreements. First is unilateral. That means that a taxpayer, such as a company, can be directly involved with the tax authority or the government, right? That means this is just a company to government relationship, that the agreement. Then there can be a bilateral transfer agreement. This will be between the taxpayer, between the associated enterprise. For example, say this is the Suzuki, this is the Maruti, right? And the taxpayer in a foreign company, for example Japan, right? And the tax authority of the country, that is India, right? This is bilateral. That means generally this will be between India, Japan and the company, the Maruti Suzuki. This is the example. Then there will be also multilateral advanced pricing agreements, which will be concerning between the taxpayer, right, the company, two or more, associated enterprises, and the taxpayer in different foreign companies. The difference between BAP and MAPA is that this will be with India and different companies and that particular company, or many other companies also, right? So this is the difference, correct? And the context of the news is that the Central Board of Direct Taxes in India, this is a statutory body, and this does what? This is a very important body because it provides inputs for all the policy consideration related to our direct taxes. Direct taxes are our income taxes, corporation taxes. So CBDT, or Central Board of Direct Taxes, is a statutory body that looks into the direct taxes matters. And also it will be responsible for the administration of direct taxes. That means it will be looking at if the companies, if the individuals are actually paying the taxes to the government or not. So what has been done, that CBDT is entering into a record of 95 advanced pricing agreements with Indian taxpayers, right? And it is the highest ever signings. That means Indian government is now trying to go into APAs. That means it can have tax certainty, right? It can say, I am collecting amount of taxes of the amount of goods and services that is sold in India. So this is good. And out of this 95, 63 are unilateral, 32 are bilateral, right? And the bilateral were actually signed by mutual agreements with Finland, UK, US, Denmark, Singapore, Japan, correct? So we have to understand that in India, CBDT is the sole agency for advanced pricing agreements with reference to companies.